welcome to another Plan With Me video. I know that this is long overdue and it is my August theme, but at this point I figured I'd still share it in hopes that it would give y'all some inspiration. For this month's theme, I went with a blue and turquoise teal marble theme with gold accents. As always, all the supplies and stationery that I use will be linked in the description box below. For the watercolors that I'm using today, I'm using the Winsor & Newton watercolor palette, one of my favorite watercolor palettes, and the gold paint that I'm using is from the Mozart Supply brand, which I purchased on Amazon and will also be linked below. The bullet journal that I'm using today in this video is from Smart Planner, and they do have 160 GSM, meaning that they do have thicker pages, and so it can handle watercolors like I'm using today. So speaking more along with what I'm doing here and my actual theme, so this theme was inspired by a couple of other bullet journal accounts on Instagram, and I will definitely link them below. I got this idea from a specific accounts who did this theme for their July theme with a darker blue and gold color, and I absolutely loved it and wanted to recreate it. I've been seeing a lot of themes that are quote boho and kind of abstract like this with the variety of other colors, and I wanted to do this theme with a bright blue and strong gold theme. I'm not sure about where others live in terms of the different weather that they have, but I'm currently in California and it is still very hot and in the midst of summer, and I know that this is technically not a theme that people usually do for August, but it just struck me as something that I wanted to do for my theme, and I just ran with it. So some tips about creating this theme: I layered down some colors starting with the blue and made sure not to follow too rigid of lines and to alternate between lighter colors and darker colors. And the same goes to applying the gold colors. It actually helps to have kind of a shaky hand and purposely move your hand to create some of the ridges on the lines. I would recommend that you use one of your smaller brushes to go in and do the details for the gold lines. Then I'm just reaching for some of my black brush markers and putting some of the final details for my August cover page and lettering the month title. And with that, that is my August cover page, and next up I'm gonna move right ahead into my August calendar. And going right in, I'm using my clear ruler and Tombow marker to make the lines of the calendar. I went ahead and laid down some cheap washi tape to create the lines that I just drew in. And now I'm just going in to continue and paint my August theme. In order to create the different shades and variations of blue and teal in my theme, I alternate between using a very heavy pigmented color to a very watered down color. So the more water that you add into the blue, the lighter it would appear, and the less water you use, the darker the color would be. For most of these, I do use quite a bit of water since I do like the look that it gives when you do use a lot of water, and overall I feel like it is easier to blend. Whenever I do paint in my bullet journal, I'm always cautious about how much liquid and water I'm adding onto each of the pages. The more water and the more paint and layering that you do, there is a chance of the pages bulking and crumbling, and some bleed through. But with this amount, as you can see that I'm using here, it is okay and it tends not to bleed. And here I'm just going back in with the same technique and putting the final touches on this page with the gold paint. Then I decided to continue the blue theme and going into the calendar with the blue watercolor and filling in the bubbles for where the numbers would be. As you can see in this portion, I did ultimately decide to go in with a very fine paintbrush and use the gold to number the calendar. I do regret a bit doing this step since it was very hard to control and see at the end. I think that a pen would have been a lot easier. Moving right along, the next few pages are my tracker pages. And I'm just going in with my Tombow again to marker and write out the tracker pages. I've been enjoying these bullet journal stencils from Notebook Therapy, and I'm using these stencils to outline the stars that I'll be using for my mood tracker. I'll be honest and tell you that I actually didn't have a vision and goal in mind for my mood tracker, and I just kind of let whatever happened to happen with this tracker page, and overall I did love how it turned out. I ended up using some of these smaller sparkles and stars since I didn't have a whole lot of room for 31 mood stars. I do feel like that's always part of the creative process, is to just allow yourself to be creative and allow the page to become what it will be. And as with my other pages, I'm going back in again with the watercolor in this teal and blue color and painting in the theme for this page. And by now you know the drill. I'm just alternating between different shades of blue and allowing the watercolors to flow and not being too worried about the lines and the form. I honestly love how this theme turned out, and I like how abstract and flowy it looks. I think that it actually looks really good on its own with the blue and without the gold, but the gold adds a very nice touch to it. You may or may not have noticed that I had completely forgotten to create the key for the mood tracker, and that's actually something that I caught and fixed off camera, and I did do a post of my mood tracker on my Instagram account, so if you'd like to see how I fixed that, go ahead and check out my Instagram. Since I felt like this theme had a lot going on, since I have the stars on the other side and the blue marbling on the other side, I decided to keep my habit tracker extremely simple and just went with a few lines to represent the trackers, in which that I'll be bubbling in the trackers when I complete the tracker. Next are my weeklies, and I'm going back again with this washi tape to border and protect the sheets that I don't want paint to go on. And I'm going in again with the blue watercolor to create the same theme and repeating the process again. And I've already talked about this step, so I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all just watch the process. And at this point, I was getting a little bit tired since I was painting and doing this theme all in one sitting, so I actually opt to not use my ruler, and I can say I did get a little sloppy, but that's okay. I'm just going in now to create the borders and the headers of my weekly themes with the same watercolors. Let me know what y'all think of this theme and what y'all would actually call and name it. I would say that it reminds me more of an abstract marble theme, but let me know what y'all think about it. We made it to the last stretch of the video. With these last few spreads and pages, I'm going in to do the same technique that I did in the other pages. I love that with bullet journaling, each page is customizable and you can really form and create and customize it to your liking and what you feel you need in your pages. With me, I always like to add a couple of extra pages for a brain dump where I can just write about anything that's on my mind, or a couple of pages for writing in gratitude and affirmations. For me, gratitude and affirmation pages have become a staple in my bullet journaling, and I always make an effort to try to include them in my spreads. And last but not least, you've made it to the end of the video, and here is a flip through of all the pages that I did today. I hope you enjoyed watching how I made my August theme, and stay tuned for my September theme. I swear it would not be this late next time. Please give a like, thumbs up, and subscribe if you like my content, and I'll see you next time. Remember, as always, I hope you stay creative.